Okay, so this is part 2 to my unboxing video where I'm testing out a Maticoopx incubator for hatching Marans to see if I get a better hatch rate. And I wanted to do an update video. They're ready to come out and I have no idea how many hatched. So we're gonna stick them in here and then they're gonna go into their brooder. But if you want to see the first video, I'll have it linked for you guys to watch. But I can already tell that it did way better than my foam incubator did with this breed of chickens. So let's see how much we got. So a quick recap on what happened before the chicks hatched. This is a dry hatch, meaning I did not add any water throughout the whole process, and it stayed way more consistent in humidity and temperature than my old foam incubator. One thing I noticed about this little incubator right away were the egg turners. The eggs were kind of loose in there. There were gaps in between the eggs, and when the eggs turned, some of the eggs would rattle and go onto their side. So I just got some paper towels and stuck them in the gaps to keep the eggs upright and fill in those gaps, and it worked pretty good. On Facebook, someone also recommended silicone liners, and I think it's a pretty good idea for in the future. This is another trick somebody recommended on Facebook, and that's wrapping your incubator in towels so that the heat is more evenly distributed, which I did notice the bottom of the incubator stayed way closer to the same temperature as the top of the incubator. A cool feature to this incubator is the egg turner stops turning the eggs on its own 3 days prior to hatch day, and it puts the eggs upright, and it's pretty easy to tell that it's time to take the eggs out of the turners. Overall, this incubator had way less temperature and humidity spikes than my old foam one, so I was pretty excited about seeing what hatch rate I was going to get. These egg turners also have little feet on the bottom of them, and so I was able to just set the eggs down on my counter while I prepared the incubator for hatch day. I lined the incubator with a paper towel for easier cleanup. And at the end of this video, I am going to show you how I cleaned this incubator out and got it ready to set more eggs in there. After that, I closed everything back up and wrapped it back in a towel and didn't open it until the chicks were all done hatching. The towel also helped by keeping the incubator dark, and the older chicks weren't pecking as much on the younger ones that were just coming out, and they were all way quieter. After the fact, I noticed that I forgot the turner bar in there and didn't take it out, and I already had a chick that was hatching in there, so I did not risk opening the incubator, and I'll have to just remember it for next time because chicks can get their feet stuck in there. So once they started hatching, I noticed that the humidity was naturally spiking up on its own. This is just one egg hatched, and it went into the 40s from 30s, and once more started hatching and kept going up, and at one point it got up to almost 80 degrees. And don't forget, this is a dry hatch, so I'm really glad I did not add any water for lockdown. I do feel like this incubator having way less space than my big one contributed to a better hatch rate, where there was way less air just circling around and making them shrink wrap way easier. But let's get back to it and count these babies. Oh, they're coming right out. Okay, let's see if I can do this. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we got 17 out of 20 hatched. That's the best hatch rate I've ever had. I'm loving it so far, guys. There's only 3 eggs left, and we'll have to check and see if there's any peeping or anything. I'll probably leave them in there for a little bit longer just to make sure, but I don't see any peeping in them. There's one more. These are from my darkest laying hen, and they're always the hardest ones to hatch, and I had a few of them in here. I'm surprised that only one didn't hatch because the rest of them are from my other Marans, but I don't see any pipping in those. I'll probably give them another day or two, and then I don't feel any movement in there either, so we'll see, checking them later. But these guys can go in the brooder box. And we just got a tote set up in our entryway for these guys, like I have been doing the last few times. And they're gonna be here for probably a couple weeks, and then they're going into the coop. Let's put you guys in there. Probably hungry. Been in there for 3 days, some of these guys. So this is my blue black splash pen, and I have 7 blue ones and 9 black Marans in here. Tick, 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 tick. Come on, babies. Tick, 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 tick. That'll get him eating, and once one gets to eating, they're all gonna eat. I'll just keep an eye on them, make sure they drink. But yeah, it's pretty good hatch rate. That's the best I've had for my Marans, so definitely gonna be using that incubator. I actually got some Bev Davis line eggs from a breeder that I'm gonna incubate there. Yep, already drinking. And as usual, there's always a big mess to clean up after hatch day. The 3 eggs that were left in there, I later cracked them open, and one was not fertile, and the other 2 had chicks in there that didn't make it. But with my previous hatch rates being only 50 to 60%, I was really happy with those numbers. Cleanup was pretty simple. I took everything out of the incubator, then took it all outside, and I used my husband's air compressor and blew everything out of it before wiping it down. You don't want to use super high pressure just not to damage anything, and it works really good this way for me, and I've never had any problems. Then I used a simple disinfectant spray and sprayed everything down before wiping it. You want to make sure not to spray anything in the hole where the red sticker is, because that's where the turning motor is. The instructions did say to remove that sticker during setup, which I didn't, so I went ahead and just removed it this time. Honestly, I thought it was a good reminder not to spray water in there. Then I went ahead and sprayed that hole out as well. It had a lot of gunk in there. For the lid, I put the spray on the paper towel first before wiping it to make sure it didn't get any moisture into the heating element. After that, I brought it back in the house, assembled it back up, and went ahead and let it run for a little bit to make sure everything worked fine, and I was ready to put more eggs in there. I'm not sponsored by this company in any way. This is just an incubator I wanted to try out for myself, and I'm really impressed with it. I will post an Amazon link in the description below, though, if you guys did want to check this little incubator out and see the reviews and see what other people are saying about it. But if you got this far, thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.